Amelia Hayes had always been careful about her life. She had learned early on that independence was a kind of armor, soft yet protective. As a freelance graphic designer in a bustling city, she spent her days immersed in colors, lines, and creativity. Her work allowed her freedom. She chose her projects, set her own hours, and managed her own space. But freedom, as she had discovered, could also feel lonely at times. Her friends, however, had noticed. Amelia had been single for a long time, and while she was never desperate, her friends believed that her life could use a little excitement, maybe even romance. That was how the idea of a blind date first came up. At first, Amelia laughed at the suggestion. She knew her friends were joking. They had always teased each other, and she thought nothing of it. But soon the teasing turned into planning, and planning became a dare. "I dare you to go on a blind date," one of her coworkers said during lunch one afternoon. Amelia raised an eyebrow, sipping her coffee. "A dare?" she asked, smiling faintly. "Yes," her friend said, grinning. "We promise it's harmless. Just one date. If it's bad, you can leave. If it's good, well, that's a surprise," Amelia laughed, shaking her head. "You all are ridiculous. I'm too busy for this nonsense," but the friends would not relent. Over the next few weeks, they kept bringing it up, hinting about someone perfect who wanted to meet her. Amelia, trying to brush it off, ignored their suggestions. She focused on work, her art, and the little routines of her life. Still, a tiny spark of curiosity lingered, hidden beneath her calm exterior. Finally, one Friday evening, the arrangements were made. Her friends had chosen a quiet rooftop restaurant with a view of the city lights. "It's romantic, classy, and private," they said. Amelia, still skeptical, agreed to go, partly out of politeness and partly because she was curious. The evening arrived. Amelia wore a simple yet elegant dress, her hair falling naturally over her shoulders. She felt a flutter of nervousness, unusual for her. She was used to facing challenges at work or managing her life alone. But this felt different. It was a world she had almost forgotten, a world where her heart might feel vulnerable. When she arrived at the restaurant, the warm glow of soft lights greeted her. The air smelled faintly of jasmine and freshly cooked food. Her friends had arranged for them to watch from a distance, ready to capture the awkwardness of her supposed blind date. Amelia noticed them briefly as she walked in and gave a small, polite wave, unaware of the full setup. Then she saw him. A tall man, well-dressed but not overly formal, approached the table where she was to sit. There was something calm and confident in his walk, but his eyes were gentle. Amelia felt a small jolt of surprise. He looked at her and smiled, not in a teasing way, but in a way that made her feel seen. "Amelia?" he asked, his voice steady and warm. "Yes," she replied cautiously, unsure whether this was part of a joke. "Hi, I'm Nathan," he said, offering his hand. Amelia shook it, noticing how firm yet kind his grip was. As she sat down, she glanced around at her friends, who were trying hard not to laugh. They had expected her to stumble, to fumble, to look uncomfortable, but she found herself calm. Nathan had an ease about him that made the awkwardness of a prank feel irrelevant. The first few minutes were polite conversation, questions about work, hobbies, and favorite foods. But soon Nathan shared something unexpected, stories about his life as a single dad. His daughter Lily was 5 years old, and he spoke of her with warmth, pride, and gentle humor. Amelia found herself laughing at the small, endearing anecdotes, feeling a connection she hadn't anticipated. Nathan's openness disarmed her. There was no arrogance, no posturing, just honesty. He spoke of challenges and joys alike, revealing that he had faced both disappointment and hope. Amelia realized that here was someone who had lived a full life, who carried responsibility with care, and who could still find joy in small moments. Her friends, peeking from the corner of the rooftop, were silent. Their prank, meant to embarrass Amelia, had completely backfired. Instead of awkwardness, they witnessed laughter, smiles, and the spark of genuine interest. Amelia herself was surprised by how natural the conversation felt, how effortless it was to talk and to listen. Nathan noticed her interest in the city skyline and commented softly, "It's beautiful, isn't it? But I think the best parts are the little details you might miss, the way the lights reflect on the water, or how quiet the streets feel at night." Amelia nodded, feeling the truth in his words. "You notice things most people ignore," she said, a small smile forming. "I try to," Nathan replied. Life is too short not to. The conversation shifted seamlessly from city views to childhood memories, favorite books, and travel dreams. Nathan asked questions that made Amelia think and laugh, not in a forced way, but naturally. He shared experiences that made her feel understood, not judged. In his presence, the world outside the rooftop seemed to blur, leaving only the quiet intimacy of two people connecting. Hours passed almost unnoticed. The soft hum of the city below, the twinkling lights and the gentle breeze made the evening feel surreal. Amelia's friends eventually realized that they were no longer witnesses to a prank. They were watching the start of something rare, something that neither Amelia nor Nathan had expected. Nathan noticed her glance toward a nearby table and smiled. "Are they your friends?" he asked. Amelia nodded, a little embarrassed. "Yes, they planned this. I think it was supposed to be a joke." He chuckled softly. "Well, if it was a joke, it seems it's working better than expected." Amelia laughed, shaking her head. "I don't think anyone expected this." "Maybe not," Nathan said, his tone gentle. "But maybe some surprises are meant to be good ones." She felt her heart flutter. It was a strange feeling, part nervousness, part excitement, and part hope. She had always thought she could handle life alone, but now she wondered if perhaps she didn't have to. Perhaps life had a way of delivering unexpected moments that could change everything. The waiter brought the menus, but neither Amelia nor Nathan paid much attention. Conversation flowed too naturally. Amelia noticed how attentive Nathan was, not just to her words, but to her expressions, the subtle movements of her hands, the way her eyes lit up when she spoke about something she loved. It was rare to feel so seen, so heard, and so genuinely appreciated. When Nathan shared a story about how Lily had tried to cook cookies for him and made a mess in the kitchen, Amelia laughed until her cheeks hurt. "That sounds like chaos," she said, wiping away a tear of laughter. "Chaos and joy," Nathan replied. "That's life with her. It's messy, unpredictable, but somehow perfect." Amelia nodded, understanding in a way she hadn't expected. She realized that she admired him, not just for his accomplishments or confidence, but for his heart, his dedication, and the way he carried love and responsibility in equal measure. The night drew on, and the city lights glimmered like tiny stars reflected on the water. Amelia's friends, now silently watching, realized that the evening had transformed into something beautiful. Their prank, designed for laughter, had inadvertently created the first chapter of a story neither Amelia nor Nathan could have predicted. Nathan glanced at his watch, then back at Amelia. "I don't want this night to end," he admitted softly. "But I also don't want to make it awkward. I enjoy being with you." Amelia felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of connection that went beyond words. "I feel the same," she said quietly. And in that moment, on a quiet rooftop overlooking the city, a supposed joke had blossomed into something unexpectedly real. The night was far from over, and Amelia had no idea that the events of this evening would change her life in ways she could never have imagined. The city lights twinkled like distant stars as Amelia and Nathan continued their evening on the quiet rooftop. The soft hum of the streets below and the occasional rustle of the evening breeze made the world feel intimate, almost suspended in time. Amelia could hardly remember the last time she had felt so comfortable around someone she barely knew. Nathan leaned back in his chair, studying her with a gentle curiosity. "You know," he said, "most people I meet on blind dates don't really talk. They just smile politely and hope it's over quickly. But you actually listen. You ask questions. You care about the answers." Amelia felt her cheeks warm. "I guess I just like to know people. Really know them. Life is too short for small talk." Nathan nodded approvingly. "Exactly. Life is short, and people are worth noticing if you take the time." He paused and then added almost quietly, "I've learned that the hard way." Curiosity sparked within Amelia. "The hard way?" she asked. Nathan hesitated, as if weighing how much to share. "I've made mistakes," he said finally. "I've had relationships that didn't work out, people I thought would be in my life forever who aren't. And then I became a single parent. Life taught me quickly what really matters: honesty, patience, and love that doesn't give up easily." Amelia felt a pang of empathy. There was something raw and honest in his words, a vulnerability hidden beneath his calm exterior. "Your daughter must be special," she said softly. Nathan smiled, his eyes lighting up in a way that softened the edges of his composed demeanor. Lily, she's everything. She's curious, brave, and sometimes a little mischievous. She reminds me every day to find joy in the small things, even when life gets complicated. Amelia nodded, imagining the little girl. She felt a surprising warmth in her chest, a strange protective instinct she had never felt for someone she had not met. She realized that she was beginning to care, not just for Nathan but for Lily as well. Their conversation drifted seamlessly into childhood memories. Amelia shared stories of her own family, laughing as she recounted the little adventures and mishaps that had shaped her. Nathan listened intently, occasionally nodding and chuckling, but always careful not to interrupt. "I like how you tell stories," Nathan said after a while. "You make ordinary moments feel extraordinary." Amelia smiled, feeling a quiet pride. "I think life is full of ordinary moments, and it's up to us to notice the beauty in them." Nathan's expression softened. "Exactly. That's what I love about this city. You can see the skyscrapers and the bright lights, but the little streets, the quiet corners, and the people passing by, they hold more life than anyone notices." Amelia's eyes followed his gaze toward the horizon, where the last traces of sunset were fading into night. "You see more than most people," she said thoughtfully. "I try to," Nathan replied. "I've learned that the world gives you surprises every day if you're willing to pay attention." Amelia felt a connection forming, fragile yet undeniable. She realized that Nathan was unlike anyone she had ever met. There was no pretense, no rush to impress, no hidden agenda. Just honesty, warmth, and a quiet strength that drew her in. As they spoke, a waiter approached with a tray of drinks. Nathan waved him off politely, but Amelia noticed his eyes linger on her with a subtle curiosity. "You seem different from anyone I've met before," he said softly, almost as if he were afraid to disrupt the fragile bubble of the moment. Amelia looked at him, startled. "Different? In what way?" Nathan shrugged slightly, his smile gentle. "I don't know. It's hard to explain. You have this energy. It's honest, open, but also strong. I feel like I could tell you anything and you'd understand without judgment." Amelia felt a flutter in her chest. It was rare to meet someone who seemed to see past the layers she carefully maintained. She had always been cautious, protective of her emotions, but Nathan's words made her feel like she could breathe a little easier. They moved on to talk about dreams and ambitions. Nathan shared stories about his company, how he had started small, worked tirelessly, and grown into a CEO who valued integrity and creativity above all else. Amelia was genuinely impressed, not just by his success but by the way he spoke about responsibility, family, and the importance of making choices that reflected his values. "And you?" Nathan asked. "What are your dreams? What keeps you going every day?" Amelia paused, considering. She had always focused on her work, finding fulfillment in creativity and independence, but she realized she had rarely spoken about her dreams with anyone outside her family or close friends. "I want to create things that matter," she said finally. "Art that makes people feel something, even if it's just for a moment. I want to leave a mark in my own way." Nathan nodded approvingly. "That's admirable. And you're already doing it. You make people see and feel." "That's powerful." Amelia felt a warmth spread through her. There was something about Nathan's words. They weren't flattery. They were recognition, understanding, and encouragement all at once. She realized that in the short time they had spent together, she had begun to trust him, not blindly, but with a cautious hope that maybe some connections were meant to happen. The conversation turned lighter as Nathan shared humorous stories about his work and Lily's antics. Amelia laughed until her cheeks ached, and Nathan joined in, enjoying the sound of her genuine laughter. For a moment, the world outside the rooftop ceased to exist. There was only the warmth of the evening, the soft glow of the city lights, and the unexpected connection blossoming between them. As the night deepened, Amelia's friends who had been observing discreetly realized that their prank had completely failed. They had expected awkwardness, embarrassment, or discomfort, but instead they witnessed something remarkable. Amelia and Nathan were talking like old friends, laughing like they had shared years of memories, and looking at each other with a quiet sincerity that was almost palpable. Nathan noticed her gaze linger on the city below. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said, his voice soft. Amelia nodded. "Yes, but it's more than just beautiful. It's peaceful, and it's alive." You can feel the stories in every street, every window, every light. Nathan smiled, impressed. Exactly. That's why I love being here. You can see the big picture, but the small details are what make life real. Amelia felt a connection she hadn't expected. It wasn't just admiration or curiosity. It was something deeper, a sense that she could trust him, that she could share moments of joy, reflection, and even vulnerability without fear. Nathan, noticing the way her expression softened, decided to share something more personal. Amelia, can I tell you something? He asked, leaning slightly forward. Of course, she replied, intrigued. It's about my daughter, he said, his voice calm but tender. Being a single parent isn't easy. There are days when I feel overwhelmed, days when I doubt myself, and nights when I wonder if I'm doing enough. But then I see her smile, hear her laughter, or watch her curiosity about the world. And I realize that love is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than anything else. Amelia's heart ached with empathy. She had always admired parents who dedicated themselves to their children, but hearing Nathan speak with such honesty made it real in a way she had never fully appreciated. She's lucky to have you, she said softly. Nathan's eyes met hers, sincere and steady. And I'm lucky to have people who remind me why life is worth living. Tonight, meeting you, I feel that too. Amelia felt a warmth in her chest, an unexpected comfort that made her believe in the possibility of something new. It was strange, almost surreal, to feel such connection with someone she had met only a few hours ago. But there it was, a quiet, undeniable bond forming between them. They continued to talk long into the evening, sharing stories, dreams, and quiet reflections. The rooftop became their world, a small space suspended above the city where laughter, honesty, and warmth filled the air. Amelia realized that what had started as a prank, a blind date set up as a joke, had transformed into an experience she would never forget. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to hope. Hope that life could bring unexpected surprises, hope that connections could be genuine, and hope that maybe, just maybe, she had met someone who could change her life in the most extraordinary way. As the night drew to a close, Nathan stood, offering his hand. I don't want this night to end, he said quietly. Amelia smiled, feeling a sense of anticipation she had never felt before. Neither do I, she replied, and in that moment, with the city lights glowing around them and the world below moving silently, Amelia understood that sometimes life's greatest moments come when we least expect them. A supposed joke had become a night of laughter, connection, and the first whispers of something far more meaningful. The cool night air brushed against Amelia's skin as she stepped out of the elevator onto the rooftop. The city lights stretched endlessly in every direction, a sea of sparkling gold and silver. She had felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness ever since Nathan had asked her to meet him again after their first evening together. It wasn't a formal date. He hadn't asked her explicitly, but there was a quiet promise in his message. An invitation that made her heart race. Nathan was already there, leaning casually against the railing, his gaze fixed on the skyline. When he saw her approach, a soft smile appeared on his face, warm and genuine. You're here, he said simply. Amelia returned the smile, feeling her nerves settle slightly. I wouldn't miss it, she said, though her voice carried a hint of uncertainty. Nathan gestured toward a small table set up in the corner of the rooftop. A few candles flickered in the breeze, casting soft light over the space. I thought we could sit here, he said. It's quiet and we'll have the whole view to ourselves. As Amelia sat down, she noticed the subtle care Nathan had taken. Nothing extravagant, just thoughtful details that made her feel considered. The table was arranged neatly, 2 glasses already filled with sparkling water, and a small vase holding a single white flower. Amelia felt a warmth spread through her chest. There was no pretense, no attempt to impress. Just a quiet sincerity that touched her more than any grand gesture ever could. I have to admit, Nathan began, his voice calm but tinged with a hint of nervousness. I wasn't sure you'd agree to come tonight. Amelia laughed softly, shaking her head. I wasn't sure either, but something about our last meeting, I wanted to see where this goes. I feel curious and maybe a little brave. Nathan's smile widened. Curious and brave. I like that. Those are good qualities. The conversation that followed was easy, flowing naturally as if they had known each other for years rather than mere hours. They spoke about favorite books, movies, and childhood memories. Nathan shared small stories about Lily, how she had once tried to build a treehouse using nothing but old boxes and tape, how she had insisted on learning to cook because she wanted to make dinner for him. Amelia laughed at his descriptions, picturing the little girl's determination and charm. "You really love her," Amelia said quietly, her eyes softening. Nathan nodded, his expression gentle. "She's my whole world. Being a single parent isn't always easy, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. She teaches me about patience, joy, and unconditional love every day." Amelia felt a lump in her throat. There was something incredibly moving about his honesty, about the way he spoke not just as a father, but as a man who had learned to appreciate life's small, beautiful moments. She realized that her heart was opening in ways she hadn't expected. As they talked, Nathan suddenly leaned forward slightly, his tone becoming more serious. "Amelia, I want to be honest with you. I don't usually do this vulnerability with someone I've just met, but there's something about you that feels different, something I can't explain. I feel like I can tell you things I usually keep to myself." Amelia felt her pulse quicken. She didn't know what to say, so she simply nodded, encouraging him silently to continue. Nathan took a deep breath. "I've been hurt before," he admitted. "Relationships that ended badly, promises broken, trust betrayed. I've built walls around my heart, walls I thought were unbreakable. But with you, I feel like maybe those walls could come down, and it scares me because I don't give my heart lightly." Amelia's own chest tightened. She had always been careful with her heart as well, cautious about who she allowed to get close. But hearing Nathan speak with such raw honesty made her feel a strange courage. "I understand," she said softly. "I've built walls too. But sometimes it's worth taking the risk." Nathan's eyes met hers, steady and sincere. For a moment, the world around them seemed to disappear. The distant hum of traffic, the glow of the city lights, even the faint laughter of people passing below. There was only the quiet intimacy of two hearts cautiously reaching toward one another. Then unexpectedly, Nathan smiled, breaking the tension with a gentle warmth. "I'm glad you're here, Amelia. More than I can say. Even if this is just the beginning, I feel something real." Amelia's heart fluttered. She couldn't put it into words, but she felt the same. There was a sincerity in his voice, in his gaze, that made her believe in the possibility of something genuine. She realized that the supposed prank of their first meeting had led to something far more meaningful than she could have imagined. As they continued talking, Nathan suddenly shifted the topic. "Do you believe in fate?" he asked quietly. Amelia blinked, surprised by the question. "Fate?" she repeated. "I don't know. I guess and maybe. Sometimes life brings unexpected moments that feel like they were meant to happen." Nathan nodded thoughtfully. "Exactly. Meeting you. It feels like one of those moments. I didn't plan it, and yet, here we are. And I don't want to let it go without trying to see where it leads." Amelia felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't anticipated. The words weren't grandiose or dramatic, but they carried a weight of sincerity that resonated deeply. She realized that she had never met someone who spoke so openly about feelings, hopes, and fears, and it was both terrifying and exhilarating. They talked about their dreams next. Amelia shared her desire to create meaningful art, to leave an impact through her work. Nathan listened intently, occasionally nodding, occasionally asking questions that made her think more deeply about her own aspirations. In return, Nathan spoke about his ambitions, not just in business, but in life. He wanted to raise Lily to be kind, confident, and curious. He wanted to find a partner who could share in the joys and challenges of family life, someone who could appreciate the messy, unpredictable beauty of life. Amelia felt herself drawn to him in a way that was more than attraction. It was respect, admiration, and a growing emotional connection. She realized that her friend's prank had unintentionally set the stage for something remarkable. What had begun as a joke had blossomed into an evening full of laughter, honesty, and quiet intimacy. Nathan noticed her thoughtful expression and reached across the table, placing his hand near hers. "Amelia, I know this might be sudden and I don't want to rush anything, but I need to tell you, you make me feel alive in a way I didn't expect. Even tonight I feel hopeful, and I don't want to hide that from you." Amelia's breath caught. The warmth in her chest intensified, and she found herself smiling through a mix of nerves and excitement. Nathan, I feel the same, she admitted softly. I wasn't expecting this, but it feels right. It feels real. Nathan's eyes softened and he gave her hand a gentle squeeze. That's all I needed to hear, he said. I don't know what the future holds, but I want to explore it. With you. The city below seemed to fade as Amelia absorbed his words. For a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a life beyond independence, beyond cautious walls, a life where laughter, love, and trust could exist side by side. She realized that she had been ready for a change even if she hadn't known it. Nathan's expression shifted slightly, a mixture of seriousness and anticipation. There's something I want to show you, he said. He stood and extended his hand to Amelia. Come with me. Curious and slightly apprehensive, Amelia took his hand. Nathan led her to a small section of the rooftop that overlooked the entire city, the wind softly brushing against their faces. In the center of the space, a small table had been set up, and beside it, a tiny box rested on a cushion of velvet. Amelia's heart began to race. Nathan turned to her, his gaze steady. I know this night started as a joke, a prank your friend set up, but nothing about this feels like a joke to me. Every moment with you has felt real, honest, and important. I can't ignore that. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the box. Amelia's breath caught as she realized what it might contain. I want you to know, Nathan continued, that I don't take this lightly. Life has taught me to value what matters, love, family, trust. And in meeting you tonight, I feel like I've found something worth holding on to. Will you? Amelia's heart pounded, a mix of surprise, disbelief, and an unexpected thrill. She realized that the moment they were sharing was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Her friend's prank had led to this, an unexpected, beautiful, and life-changing connection. Before she could respond, Nathan smiled, a soft, reassuring smile. Take your time, he said gently. No pressure. I just needed to be honest with you. Amelia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. She had not anticipated this level of sincerity, this depth of emotion, or the sudden realization that her life might be about to change forever. She reached out, touching his hand, and whispered, Nathan, I feel the same. I want to see where this goes. Nathan's eyes lit up with relief and joy. Then let's take this one step at a time, he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Together. For the first time in a long while, Amelia felt a sense of hope she hadn't thought possible. The city lights, the quiet rooftop, the unexpected connection, they all blended into a perfect, unforgettable moment. And in that moment, she knew that what had begun as a joke had become something far more profound. The rooftop was quiet, except for the faint hum of the city below. The soft glow of candlelight flickered against Amelia's face as she sat across from Nathan. Her heart still raced from the honesty and intensity of their previous conversations. Every word, every gesture from Nathan felt meaningful, as if he had opened a window to a world she had not expected to find. Nathan took a deep breath, his gaze steady, and for a moment the playful, easygoing demeanor he usually carried was replaced with something more serious. Amelia felt a mix of curiosity and apprehension. There was something in the way he looked at her that told her this was a moment that could change everything. Amelia, he began softly, I know we barely know each other, and I know this started as a joke. But I have to be honest about something. I've never felt a connection like this before, and I don't want to let it pass by without being true to my feelings. Amelia's heart skipped. She leaned in slightly, drawn by the sincerity in his voice. Nathan, I feel it too, she whispered. This feels real. I don't know why, but it does. Nathan smiled, relief washing over his features. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, elegant box. Amelia's eyes widened as her breath caught. She had no idea what to expect, but her intuition told her this was important. I know it might seem sudden, Nathan said, his voice calm yet firm. And I don't want to rush anything, but I've spent so much of my life being careful, waiting, doubting. Tonight with you, I feel something I can't ignore. He opened the box to reveal a simple, beautiful ring that shimmered under the soft light. Amelia gasped softly, unable to tear her eyes away from the small object. She hadn't anticipated this, not at all. The moment felt unreal, as if time had slowed to let them breathe in the intensity of the emotion between them. Amelia Hayes, Nathan said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. I know this started as a prank, and I know it's unexpected. But I also know that life is too short to ignore moments that feel like they matter. Will you marry me? The world seemed to stop for Amelia. Her mind raced, but her heart knew the answer. She glanced down at the ring, then up at Nathan, seeing the depth of sincerity in his eyes. It wasn't a game, it wasn't a joke, it was real, and it was terrifying and beautiful all at once. Before she could speak, laughter erupted from the corner of the rooftop. Her friends had been watching, intending to capture the awkwardness of a blind date prank, and now they were frozen in shock. Their prank had completely backfired. Instead of seeing her embarrassed or flustered, they saw a moment that was profound, heart-stopping, and completely genuine. Amelia's mind whirled. She had expected discomfort, awkward smiles, maybe polite rejection, but this was beyond anything she could have imagined. She realized that Nathan wasn't asking her because of a dare or a prank. He was asking because he genuinely wanted to spend his life with her. Her chest tightened as emotion swelled within her. Tears pricked at her eyes, but she smiled, feeling a mix of disbelief, joy, and overwhelming warmth. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes, Nathan, I will marry you." Nathan's smile was radiant, relief and joy shining through every feature of his face. He slipped the ring onto her finger gently, careful and reverent. Amelia felt a warmth she had never experienced before, a quiet certainty that she had made the right choice in opening her heart. Her friends, still stunned, slowly erupted into applause and cheers. Some of them laughed nervously, realizing their prank had turned into a life-changing moment for Amelia. Others whispered to each other, amazed at how quickly an ordinary evening had transformed into something extraordinary. Amelia looked at Nathan, her eyes shining. "I can't believe this," she said softly. "I never expected any of this." Nathan took her hand in both of his. "I know, neither did I. But sometimes life surprises us in ways we never see coming, and tonight, it gave me you." For a moment, the rooftop was quiet again, the city lights sparkling below like a reflection of the stars. The intensity of the moment, the sincerity of Nathan's proposal, and the overwhelming emotions Amelia felt all combined into a memory she knew she would carry forever. "Do you want to meet Lily soon?" Nathan asked gently, his eyes searching hers. "I think she would love to meet you, and, well, I think you'll love her too." Amelia smiled, feeling her heart swell. "I would like that," she said softly. "I want to be a part of your life." And hers. Nathan's eyes lit up with a mix of relief and joy. "Then we'll take it one step at a time," he said. "Together." The night stretched on, but Amelia felt no hurry to leave. They talked, laughed, and shared quiet moments of reflection. The city below continued its endless rhythm, but on the rooftop time seemed to bend around them. Every word, every glance, every touch was infused with meaning, a quiet celebration of connection and trust. At one point, Nathan reached over and brushed a strand of hair from Amelia's face. "You know," he said softly, "I never believed in fate in the way people talk about it. But meeting you, it feels like the universe gave me something I didn't know I needed, and I can't imagine not having it now." Amelia felt tears spill over, unashamed and natural. She had been careful with her heart, wary of trusting too quickly. But in Nathan, she found a sincerity and steadiness that made her feel safe to be vulnerable. "I feel the same," she whispered. "I didn't know I was ready, but I am. With you." Nathan smiled, gently holding her hands. "Then we'll face everything together. The joys, the challenges, the laughter, the tears. We'll face them together." Amelia felt a sense of peace she had never known. The city's lights, the gentle breeze, the quiet intimacy, they all blended into a perfect memory. She realized that her friend's prank, which had started as something trivial, had led her to a moment of profound clarity and happiness. The rest of the evening passed in a warm, quiet rhythm. They shared stories about family, dreams for the future, and even small, silly details of their lives. Nathan told more stories about Lily, and Amelia laughed, imagining the little girl's curiosity and spirit. She felt herself wanting to be a part of that life, to share in the joys and challenges of a family she had never expected to join. Nathan, for his part, watched Amelia with quiet admiration. He had never intended to propose on a whim, but the moment had felt right. The sincerity of their connection, the warmth in her eyes, and the ease with which they had spoken about life and love had given him a certainty he had not felt in years. Eventually, the night began to wind down. The candles flickered low and the city below grew quieter as the hours passed. Amelia and Nathan stood together, looking out over the skyline, hands intertwined. "Thank you for tonight," Amelia said softly, her voice filled with emotion. "For being honest, for everything." Nathan turned to her, his gaze steady. "Thank you for trusting me, for being open, for letting this happen." They shared a quiet moment, the kind that spoke more than words ever could. In that silence, there was understanding, hope, and a promise of what was to come. The rooftop had transformed from a place of a simple prank to a sanctuary of genuine connection and love. Finally, Nathan spoke, his voice calm but full of warmth. "I know the world outside can be complicated, but tonight I feel like we found something simple, something real, something worth holding on to." Amelia nodded, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. "Yes, something worth holding on to," she repeated, and with that they left the rooftop together, the city lights reflecting in their eyes. They didn't know what challenges the future might bring, but they both knew that they had found something rare: trust, connection, and the quiet certainty that comes when hearts meet unexpectedly. Amelia couldn't stop smiling. The prank had led to a proposal, yes, but more importantly, it had led to a moment of truth, of vulnerability, and of hope. She realized that sometimes life's surprises were not just unexpected, they were exactly what we needed, even when we didn't know it. As they walked down the quiet streets together, hand in hand, Amelia felt a sense of anticipation and joy she had never known. She knew that life was about to change, and for the first time in a long while, she was ready to embrace it completely. The evening had started as a joke, a simple dare set up by her friends. But now, as she walked beside Nathan, the single dad CEO who had captured her heart, Amelia understood that the world had a way of creating magic in the most unexpected moments. And sometimes, that magic came in the form of someone who made you believe in love, hope, and the extraordinary possibilities of life. The next morning, Amelia woke to the soft sunlight streaming through her window. Her mind was still swirling with the events of the previous night. Nathan's proposal had been unexpected, overwhelming, and yet perfectly real. She couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at her, the calm certainty in his eyes, the gentle sincerity of his words. Amelia dressed carefully, her heart fluttering with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today she was going to meet Lily for the first time. Nathan had invited her to his apartment, a cozy place filled with warmth and evidence of a little girl's presence. Small drawings taped to the walls, toys neatly arranged in corners, and the faint smell of vanilla lingering in the air. When Amelia arrived, Nathan opened the door with a smile. "Hey," he said softly. "I'm glad you're here." "Me too," Amelia replied, trying to calm the nervous energy in her chest. Nathan led her inside, and Amelia's eyes immediately fell on a small figure sitting on the living room floor, building a tower with colorful blocks. Lily looked up, her wide eyes curious and cautious. For a moment there was silence, as if both the child and the visitor were sizing each other up. "Lily," Nathan said gently, "this is Amelia. She's someone very special." The little girl's eyes sparkled as she studied Amelia. Then, with a shy smile, she said, "Hi, I'm Lily." Amelia knelt down slowly, making herself smaller, more approachable. "Hi, Lily. I've heard so much about you," she said softly. "I think you're very creative." Lily's smile widened. "I like building things," she said proudly, pointing to her block tower. "I can see that," Amelia said warmly. "You're very talented. Maybe we can build something together later?" The ice broke. Lily giggled, and Amelia felt her heart melt. She realized that this was the moment she had been both excited and nervous for, the first step into a life that could be completely new, yet filled with warmth and love. Nathan watched the interaction with a quiet smile, relief evident in his expression. "You two seem to like each other," he said softly, though the hint of pride in his voice made Amelia smile. As the morning passed, Amelia found herself sharing breakfast with Nathan and Lily. There were small moments of laughter, Lily insisting that Amelia taste her pretend magic pancakes, Nathan teasingly trying to build a tower with blocks and failing hilariously, and Amelia catching herself laughing until tears formed in her eyes. She realized that this life, chaotic and full of small joys, was exactly the kind of life she wanted to be a part of. At one point, Lily ran over to Nathan with a crayon in her hand. "Daddy, can Amelia color with me?" Nathan looked at Amelia with a smile. "I think that's a great idea," he said. Amelia laughed softly and took the crayon. "Let's make the best picture ever," she said, kneeling on the floor beside Lily. For the next hour they drew, colored, and laughed together. Amelia felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced before. She realized that love wasn't just about romance, it was about connection, trust, and the willingness to share life with someone completely. After Lily's nap, Nathan and Amelia sat on the balcony, the city stretching out below them. The warm afternoon sun cast a soft glow, making the moment feel serene and perfect. "I didn't expect last night to lead here," Amelia said softly, leaning back in her chair. "I never imagined I would feel so at home so quickly." Nathan took her hand in his. "Neither did I," he admitted. "But some moments, some people, change everything. You've changed everything for me, Amelia. I feel like I can finally be fully myself." Amelia squeezed his hand gently. "I feel the same way. It's scary, but also exciting, and I want to explore it. With you and with Lily." Nathan's eyes softened. "Then we'll take it one step at a time. No rush, no pressure, just us." As the days passed, Amelia found herself becoming more a part of Nathan's world. She spent weekends helping Lily with art projects, cooking small meals together, and even sharing quiet moments of reading before bedtime. Nathan's love for his daughter and the tenderness with which he navigated fatherhood made Amelia's heart swell. She realized that she was falling in love, not just with Nathan, but with the life they could build together. One evening, Nathan suggested a small walk through the park near their apartment. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Lily ran ahead chasing pigeons while Nathan and Amelia walked hand in hand, their fingers intertwined naturally. "I can't believe how quickly everything changed," Amelia said softly. "It feels like we've known each other for so much longer than we actually have." Nathan smiled, squeezing her hand. "Sometimes life gives you moments that feel bigger than time. Meeting you last night, it wasn't planned, but it feels right, and I want to spend every day making sure it stays right." Amelia felt tears prick her eyes. "I never thought a blind date prank could lead to this," she whispered, a smile breaking through her tears. "But I'm glad it did." Nathan stopped walking and turned to face her. "Amelia, I know we're moving fast and it might seem sudden, but I need you to know something. You're not just important to me. You're already part of my life, and I can't imagine it without you. I want us to be a family together, all three of us." Amelia's heart leapt. She had never imagined feeling so fully accepted and wanted, not just as a partner, but as part of a family. "Nathan, I want that too," she said softly. "More than anything." Nathan pulled her close, and they shared a quiet embrace, the world around them fading into the background. The warmth of the setting sun, the laughter of Lily in the distance, and the peace in their hearts combined into a perfect moment, one that would stay with them forever. Over the next weeks, Amelia and Nathan planned small celebrations with friends and family. Amelia's co-workers, who had originally set up the prank, were amazed at the turn of events. Their laughter had transformed into cheers and heartfelt congratulations, realizing that their joke had inadvertently led to a genuine, life-changing love story. On a quiet Sunday morning, Nathan suggested a small picnic for Amelia and Lily. They sat under a large oak tree in the park, sharing sandwiches, juice, and laughter. Lily, confident now in her affection for Amelia, held her hand proudly. Amelia realized that in that simple act she had found her place, not just as Nathan's partner, but as someone Lily trusted and loved. As the day ended, Amelia felt a quiet contentment. She had spent years guarding her heart, fearing disappointment and pain. But in Nathan and Lily she had found something rare, a love that was honest, patient, and kind. A love that didn't rush or force but grew naturally, nurtured by trust and care. That evening, Nathan and Amelia sat on the balcony again, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. Nathan took her hand in his, looking at her with a depth of emotion that made her heart ache with joy. "Amelia," he said softly, "I know we're just at the beginning, but I want you to know, I'm committed to this, to you, to Lily, to our future. I can't promise it will always be easy, but I promise it will always be real, and I promise to love you every single day." Amelia felt tears of happiness spill over. "Nathan, I promise the same," she said. "I promise to be here, to share everything, to love both of you. And I can't wait to see what our future holds." They held each other close, the city stretching out below them, the stars beginning to twinkle above. For the first time in a long while, Amelia felt fully at peace, fully alive and fully certain of the path ahead. She had walked into a prank, into a night she had expected to be awkward and funny, and emerged with a love she had never imagined possible. As Nathan held her hand, and Lily ran ahead, laughing and carefree, Amelia knew one thing for certain. Life could surprise you in the most extraordinary ways, and sometimes, the most unexpected moments were the ones that changed everything. And in that quiet, glowing evening, under the city lights and the stars above, Amelia, Nathan, and Lily began the first chapter of a life full of love, laughter, and endless possibilities, a life that would always be cherished. A story that had started as a joke but had turned into a beautiful reel forever.